Hi, I'm Dorinda Hefner. I'll go anywhere, anytime in search of warm people and exciting new tastes. Join me on a journey around the United States. We'll explore the roots of America's many cultures and their wonderful cuisines. We'll share wonderful dishes and hear personal stories of Americans who trace their origins to all parts of the world. This kaleidoscope of tantalizing regional cuisines make up my series, The United Taste of America.
Funding for this program was made possible by annual financial support from viewers like you.
In this program, I will be finding out about two of America's most famous cuisines. The warm hospitality and traditional delights of Southern cooking in Savannah, Georgia. And sharing wholesome food, dancing and laughter with the Cajuns in Lafayette, Louisiana. Cajun and African cuisines have quite a lot in common, even though their origins lie in very different parts of the world. The interesting thing is how their cuisines have evolved over time. The huge plantations of the American South, where fellow West Africans were once shipped to pick cotton. From those times come songs they sang to keep their spirits up. But I've come to search out a less recognized legacy, the American and African mix that's become Southern food. Nearby, on the outskirts of Savannah, Georgia, that legacy can still be detected on the tables of middle-class African Americans. It's Easter Day in the Rouse's household. While the two girls, Jordan, Christian, and I, are getting ourselves ready to go to church, Chiquita's cooking us grits.
They love to eat grits, especially Jordan.
Oh.
I think she gets that from her aunt in Atlanta. She just loves grits.
With the quick grits most people fix, you simply add water and stir for about 15 minutes.
Oh, it's ready. And with some good hot butter melted on it, yeah, I think you'll enjoy it.
Grits are made from specially prepared corn and have a taste that goes with anything. If you're brought up on them, as I was in Africa and most people are in the American South, it's unlikely you'll ever lose the taste. Dressing up for church is another tradition, especially on Easter Sunday, and nowhere more so than here at Savannah's First African Baptist Church, which houses the longest established black congregation in North America. Mr. Rouse is a deacon of the church, which was built in 1859 by slaves working by candlelight. In its early days, runaway slaves were hidden beneath the floor, protected by the church's first pastors, themselves recently freed slaves. Looking at their images in the stained glass windows, it's easy to appreciate just how much this building means to the black community here. Spurred on by the charismatic Reverend Tillman, the church's present pastor, the 3 hours passed by in moments. It's a long time since I last went to a service with such an atmosphere, or where the singing was quite so exhausting. Exhausting and exhilarating. Back home on the outskirts of Savannah, Mr. and Mrs. Rouse have invited both their mothers and me to enjoy some old-fashioned Southern hospitality. Potato pie, we mix it with peanut butter, It's a good thing I've built up such an appetite with the singing.
Mr. Renda,
Yes, ma'am.
what would you like to eat? What meat would you like?
I wouldn't
first
mind
of all?
some turkey, some ham,
Okay.
some collard greens.
collard greens with neck bones coming up.
Yes, I noticed that there's some macaroni cheese on that plate too.
Coming up.
Holy Moses.
Okay. And my
And
famous rutabagas.
rutabagas.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
How's that look?
Oh, thank you. For a holiday meal like today's, a feast like this is not so unusual. But for the Rows, their day-to-day diet has changed radically in just the past generation.
I can remember when I was a young teenager, loving to eat pig feet. Pig feet, pickled pig feet.
Pig trotters.
Oh, goodness.
I'm with you.
You can find them in the stores. You can even buy them already cooked and seasoned. Now, hog chitlins.
We hadn't tried the chitlins yet, you know.
And probably won't.
Maybe eventually we'll get to that.
Probably
If
won't.
I have to clean them, you know,
Yeah,
and then get
you'll
her to
have to
cook
clean
them,
'em.
we'll get some. Pig ears. Have you
Yes.
eaten pig ears?
Big ears, yes I have. All right, but what about you, Christian? Have you tasted chitlin before?
No.
Pig feet?
Yes.
Yeah, what did you think of it?
I like the pig feet.
You did? Now that you don't eat so much, the chitlins and the feet and stuff that you love from your childhood, what sorts of thoughts go on through your head?
The first thought that goes through my head is the fact that my wife does not know how to prepare a lot of those things, okay? You know, so that would be the first thought is that, well, you know, my mother used to cook all those type of things, and she learned how to do that from her mom. And my wife does not know how to cook a lot of those things, so I don't get to eat them until I go back home to my mother. But then the other thing is the health aspect of it. You know, they talk about pork is bad for your blood pressure and cholesterol. And I try to be health conscious now, so, you know, getting away from the foods that I was raised up on, it's not all bad,
No.
but the food tastes good.
It was rich.
It's good, rich food, yeah.
That taste originated in the slave quarters of southern plantations. The choice cuts of pork were served at the white man's table, while the slave cooks were left to be inventive with the remains. Hi, I'm Dorinda.
Hi, I'm Ernestine. How you doing?
Pleased to meet you, Mom.
Pleased to meet you too.
Nowadays, even in a place like Savannah, Georgia, you'll have to search for such cuisine. And then, you're most likely to find it in private homes rather than going out to restaurants where fast food's the order of the day. Miss Ernestine,
Yes.
do you know where I can get some good Southern cooking?
Well, yes, I can take you to my place and we can have some good Southern cooking.
The answer is yes. Yes,
But
please.
first, we have to stop up here to the Piggly Wiggly store.
Piggly Wiggly.
Yes.
What is it?
This is a grocery store. And we have to pick up some fresh vegetables and meats to go and make a dinner. This is Piggly Wiggly. This is where I do all of my shopping at right here. My biggest shopping right here.
All right. I've never seen a supermarket packed with so many offcuts of meat. Feet, ears, stomach, sliced fat back. We go for smoked neck bones and pigtails. Back in her kitchen, Ernestine places the pigtails and smoked neck bones at the bottom of a pan to boil for 45 minutes. The broths then go into flavor a vegetable I remember well from my childhood, collard greens, a staple of African American cooking.
We pull the greens off of the big stem.
Can I help?
Sure. Be my guest.
All right. See, when we were little, sometimes when it was so hot, we'd be doing this. We use this for fans.
Yes.
You know, you're supposed to be doing it, and you open it up, and you.
And then you cut them and
Yeah. Why do you think collard greens are so popular in the South,
because it's
as opposed to say spinach or any other greens for that matter?
it's very economy. You know, it's cheap.
Do you feed your children this sort of food?
Yes, when they come over and I be cooked and have all of this stuff ready, they eat it, but most of the time they like to eat a whole lot of fast foods because that
Isn't
they
that just...
can get that quick and in a hurry and keep on going, and they don't have to be washing dishes.
It's typical, though. You know, I hear this story so many times. A lot of good cooks, when their children come, their children prefer to eat fast food.
Yeah.
What is it about children of cooks which makes them want to eat fast food? Maybe we spoiled them
Probably.
too early in life. We
Yeah.
should have starved them.
You think that would have worked?
Well, something. They've had it too good too long.
Yes.
Smells good.
Yes, it's going to taste even better.
The collard greens and neck bones cook together for an hour, giving us time to bake cornbread.
2 cups of cornmeal.
Right.
Then we use 3 eggs.
Where would Southern cooking be without cornbread, huh?
Southern cooking would be nothing but that cornbread because that's mostly what the people lived off of at one time. It was just
Who taught you to cook this?
my mother. She taught me how to cook.
Did you know the experts are watching us right here?
Yes, they are. I know. So if one thing go wrong, see, I'm going to hear from her. But
They're like 2 peas in a pod.
yes,
They're twins.
Yes, they
They
are.
are twins.
They make sure things go well, especially when they are happening in the kitchen.
and of course, when things go wrong, you get double rebuke from
That's
the twins.
right. That's right.
The mixture goes into the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit to bake for 20 minutes. Cornbread's a truly delicious accompaniment to any meal, but some favorite foods once eaten by African American slaves and sharecroppers are now only a memory for the older generation. What's your favorite food, Reverend Owen?
I like tater pies, sweet potatoes. And then I like the squirrels and coons
Squirrels.
and possums.
So you ate squirrels and coons and possums?
That's right. I'd parboil them. Then I'd put them in there and put a stove of sweet potatoes in the next baker. And then I take and peel them. When I take the coons out the pot, then I take them, put them in, place a potato here, put a potato here, a potato there, till I got a potato all the way around them. Then I took the gravy off this coons and poured it over there and put them in the stove, and that was something good to eat.
Auntie Ethel, you like possum?
Yeah, I like her soup, because my mom used to make it.
And did you like the wild hogs?
No, I like rabbits, squirrels,
Coons?
yeah, and coon, and that's what I like.
I've been under the impression that there's a lot of concern in this style of cooking, that people are going back to traditional forms of cooking and ingredients, but with a health slant.
If I were living out on my own and not living with my mother, I probably would go the fast food route all the time. I never would fix anything like this. But since I'm here and the families do get together often, we're going to continue to eat it, and each generation that come along, they're gonna enjoy it too.
Earnestine lives on the outskirts of Savannah, a largely black neighborhood. Less than 2 miles away in the historic center, it's a different story. Savannah is one of the prettiest towns in America and nowadays draws tourists from far and wide. It was founded by the British in 1733, who laid it out in a series of elegant squares. With the arrival of cotton and Savannah's Cotton Exchange, dubbed the Wall Street of the South, the wealth poured in. But the tour bus I went on hardly even mentioned the African contribution to the city's history, even though once most of its population were black slaves. Here, it's easy living, Southern style. But I wanted to find someone in the white community to talk with about the mixture of cultures that make up the South, and particularly its food. So I've come to the home of enthusiast for old-time Southern cuisine, food writer Damon Fowler. He's promised to make me a sweet potato and pecan pie.
The filling starts with 2 sweet potatoes that are roasted, and I'm just going to peel them and
Sure.
put them in and mash them up. I'm going to put them through a potato ricer. In the South, a lot of people call these yams, but as you well know,
Oh, hey, yams are African.
they're not yams at all.
Not at all. You see, if you put this sweet potato through a modern kind of food processor, you can't get the fineness.
Exactly. Now, you could use a food mill. The old cooks used a sieve, and they would mash, through the sieve, and that was a lot of work.
That's how I grew up, sitting there laboriously doing it for my mom, pushing baked yams and sweet potatoes through sieves and eating in between.
This is basically, the foundation of this is an English custard pie.
Right.
Especially with the seasonings, the lemon peel and the nutmeg and the whiskey.
This dish is eaten by white and black alike.
Oh, yes, indeed. In fact, this is the sweet potato custard pie is so indigenous among the African-American community that I have a friend who's an African-American chef here in town who was almost offended when I said this was an English pie because she said, no, it's not, it's African. And I had to
well, I'm equally offended. Absolutely. This is very African. You can't steal this one.
Well, the interesting thing about Southern cooking is it's not so much that this is African and this is English and this is Native American. What's interesting is the way it blends so beautifully that you almost can't tell this is African, this is English, this is American.
No, it's an unusual thing to actually mix sweet potato and pecan.
They're two classic Southern desserts, a sweet potato custard pie and a pecan pie, which is really a custard pie.
Yeah. Damon adds 8 ounces of pecan nuts to a mixture of egg, sugar, and butter before pouring it on top of the sweet potato.
Combining the two is a happy thing. They've been doing that for years with Thanksgiving. The sweet potatoes at the Thanksgiving dinner table had a topping of pecans, and it was just a matter of time till somebody thought of putting the topping onto the pie.
So, I mean, the two are as southern as the drawl, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, they're just as southern as my voice is, honey.
This is fairly common to the plantation dinner table for the white families.
Yeah, exactly. The food that I present in my book and that I talk about was really what the black cook was doing for the white man in his kitchen, and that's really what is set apart from what the black cook was doing at home, because basically this was a European kitchen, European recipes, everything had a European foundation. Now, after a couple of generations, she was on her own, and the white mistress pretty well left her alone, and so you have these African dishes beginning to appear on the white man's table, like Hop and John and like Carolina Perlo, which is really, chicken and rice.
Right.
Very African things, and African seasonings, everything about it was African. But the desserts didn't change a whole lot. They stayed pretty European.
It's a marriage born in heaven, really, and ultimately, I mean, by default.
Oh, yeah.
In Damon's lovely garden, I couldn't help imagining the very different circumstances in which dishes like this sweet potato and pecan pie were first prepared. Whenever I sit to eat this style of food, it just conjures up all sorts of images of bygone days. What's it like for you?
Well, I have, of course, a slightly different perspective, being basically European, Northern European heritage and having come from the other side of the kitchen, from this side that your heritage comes from. But some of the same things, the sense of the past and the sense of this is home and this is where I belong. Those smells bring me right back into the South.
Damon, you haven't got a romantic notion of the South, have you, as it was?
You can't have a romantic notion about what it must have been like, because it was awful for the cook. It must have been terrible for the cook. The kitchen was hot all the time because you had to have this big fire. And let's face it, they didn't care if the kitchen was modern or not. So you had an open hearth. It was hot all the time. They were sweaty. The women had alligator faces after a few years because this blast furnace is going in their face. And for the first couple of generations of African cooks, they were cooking a cuisine that was foreign to them. Now, the real tribute to their skill as a cook is that they did it, and they did it far better than it had been done before. And that's really incredible to me. Was it a form of artistic self-expression? It was the only artistic expression they had. In fact, there was a strong apprenticeship system in the plantation. If your daughter showed any promise with cooking at all, the cook was kind of the top of the social pecking order among the slaves. So if your daughter showed any promise as a cook, then you pushed her toward the kitchen. So from age 4 or 5 forward, she grows up in the kitchen and she literally knows nothing but food. So of course, by the time she's a teenager, she's a wonderful cook.
It all keeps coming back to the plantation. Black Africans gathering any food they could to supplement their meager diet. Leftovers of hog, possum from the woods, and oyster from the creek. And then cooking a very different European cuisine for the white folks. On plantations like this one, north of Savannah, now owned by Barbara Goodwin and her family, it once controlled 2,000 acres worked by 700 slaves.
There was no kitchen in the house proper because the kitchens in those days were always a separate building, and this kitchen was over there. So the kitchen where most of the fires would begin was separated from the main house, and the cooking was done there by the slaves and then brought over into the dining room here. Usually there were 2 cooks, and usually there was a yard boy that kept the wood supplied in the fireplace to do the cooking. And then there was another man that brought the water in. And usually the kitchen crew was about 5 to 7 people.
But ironically, it was precisely the autonomy given to the black cooks that established them as the experts in Southern cooking. And it's precisely that expertise that Nita Dixon's used as the basis of her restaurant in downtown Savannah. Still a black cook in a kitchen, only now it's her own kitchen, and it's proving a big success. On the window of Nita's place is Hattie McDaniel, the housekeeper from Gone with the Wind, and one of her heroines.
She was amazing. I grew up like this. And when you saw somebody on TV that played that role there, with that wrap on their head and everything, it reminded me of my ancestors. You didn't get a job if you didn't know how to cook and clean. And they search for that. The word is out. Because let me tell you something. My mama would say, I'm not able to go today because I'm very sick, but Nita can go. Well, do Nita know how to cook? Yes, she know how to cook. And my mother would call me out the back, Nita, I want you to go and cook for Mrs. Susan or Mrs. Annie and cook it the same way I taught you now.
The recipes are those Nita learned in her mother's kitchen. Cooking whole cake may once have been evidence of hardship. Now cooking represents the freedom of being her own boss.
Do you know food is art?
I know.
Do you know it's
please,
beautiful?
Please,
I would like for you all to taste this.
What do you feel like in your kitchen?
I feel hip hip hooray. Hip hip hooray. That's how I feel like
I'm with you. I'm with you, man.
Hooray. You know, I'm a nice size pleasing plump woman.
Excuse me, there's
and
nothing wrong
you
with
know
that.
what? I do not even eat it. I gained weight by smelling food.
Hey, I love to see the way you manage your affairs in the kitchen, like you're doing a bit of ballet, you know?
Yeah.
It's down here for the spoon bread, up here for the kitchen, chop here for the sweet potatoes, over there for the lemons, and in the middle I'll say, bread. All right. Oh gosh, this food smells good.
You think of food like you think of your man.
Oh yeah? Miss Nita said food is like your man. So hey, keep watching. We'll both learn something.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So because I don't have one, I cook for people that I love from the bottom of my heart. My customers. And they're the bottom of my heart.
And
they make my heart feel good.
And you're hoping that maybe you might find a man amongst your customers?
No, I let them decide on how to find me.
Uh-huh. That's better. Their stomachs will lead them to you.
Mushrooms, something, they don't eat tomatoes and bell peppers and celery and onions.
Yeah.
But you take all of this and you mix it and you make them eat it. With the other ingredients that you have.
You call it a different name.
And you call it a spoon bread. What's making it so best about this is spoon bread right here. I'm turning it because I want the hard crust to go inside there. And you're cooking candy yams with enough of water, enough of room in for they can breathe. You know, vegetables are jealous-hearted people.
What do you mean?
They're jealous-hearted. They can't stand to touch each other. They're like children. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. That's how vegetables are.
Can I tell you something funny?
What?
When I was little, I hated celery. You know why?
Why?
It wasn't common to Africa, but when we had it, like it was bought from the shops and the greengrocers where the white folk bought their stuff, right? And my mother used to use this to cane us instead of ordinary cane. She used to use this. And so I used to look at celery and think, pain. And I'd be out there. All this so reminds me of growing up in Africa. I'm intrigued to see whether the way we African cooks taste food has also persisted here in the South.
You better blow it first. I tell you, this liquid ain't easy to deal with. Why I'm doing this? You know why?
Why?
To make sure I got enough of seasoning in it. Make sure they'll like it.
Yeah? Now, Miss Nita, you've given away your African roots. What you just did then gave away your African roots. You know, because that's exactly how we taste food. See? I have watched a number of chefs on television stir and then take the spoon straight to their mouths and then put it straight back in there.
No.
Whoa.
You can stand a little bit more sugar. So give me a little bit more sugar.
For Hopping John, black-eyed peas are simmered in broth and finely chopped sautéed onions. Rice is added before the Hopping Johns hop into a baking tray and into the oven for 30 minutes. A basically African recipe, the most popular of all southern rice dishes, but for Nita, personally significant.
You know what? This right here is the best thing happened to me since freedom.
What do you mean?
Because I learned how to cook. And then I said, well, I can deal with other things that's coming.
Freedom? When did you get your freedom?
Well, it came along when you started saying...
When who started saying?
It ain't no trouble on my mind, no, I'm set on freedom. Girl, I'm going with my mind because I'm set on freedom.
It's been a long journey cooking this jive to get to here. Nita cooking in Nita's place.
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. God told me to rise because I'm set on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hey girl, you know I'm cooking this jive because I'm set on freedom. Hey, hey, you know I'm cooking this jive because I'm set on freedom. You know I'm cooking this jive because I'm set on freedom. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hey.
Now, it's time for me to move on to New Orleans in my search for real Cajun cooking. I'd heard a great deal about Cajun seasoning, Cajun gumbo, and Cajun crawfish. And I'm looking forward to trying some of the real thing. What I wasn't expecting, though, was a Cajun way of life. Just my kind of people. You know what Cajun food is?
I believe it's in the eyes of the beholder, and whatever the chef's touch is in it is what you get.
What is Cajun food, madam?
I don't really know. I just know I love it.
It's pretty spicy, and it's jambalaya and gumbo and...
Something with a red hot sauce.
What makes it Cajun for me?
Yes.
The people down here to cook it.
I don't have a clue.
That's all right. That's fine. I start my quest for Cajun food right here in New Orleans, Louisiana, a city famous for its music and its rich cosmopolitan mix. What a place. Fabulous architecture, elegant restaurants, and what I find so appealing, there's a sense of party time every day of the week. Cajun dish of all time is a spicy meat and vegetable soup called gumbo. And I'm told this restaurant is the place to have it, where the chef is Gigi Patou. There's so much confusion out there about what Cajun food really is. What is Cajun food?
Well, Cajun food is something I'm going to show you today a little bit. We're going to make a roux first, okay?
Right.
A roux is made with oil and flour to thicken a gumbo.
I asked you what Cajun food is, and immediately you said to me, we're going to make a gumbo.
I
And
know.
what's the significance
But
between
this-
a gumbo and a...
Well, Cajun is gumbo.
Really?
Gumbo is Cajun. But my father came from a big family, and so did his father. So it was taking one chicken that they had on the farm and making something with it that it would feed the family of 8 to 10 for 2 days. So you made a roux, you made it thick one day, the next day you add a little bit more stock to it, and you make a gumbo.
Right. So how different is this from Creole cooking? Because there is a lot of confusion there too.
Creole is red.
Right.
Jambalaya is dark.
Oh, well, you mean Cajun jambalaya?
Cajun jambalaya, you got me. Cajun is dark.
All right.
Creole is red.
And what makes the Cajun one dark?
Because we always use a roux.
I think we might be going around in circles here, but I've got the idea that Cajun food has heavy French-style sauces and strongly flavored vegetables, which remind me of Spanish cooking.
And what's our seasoning? Oh, we're going to have some of that Cajun spices.
Yes.
There we go.
And hot, tangy spices, a mix of cayenne, black pepper, and powdered garlic.
Not to put too much to overpower. You want the seasonings to taste, not to burn.
I see.
And I'll take some of that famous andouille sausage.
Oh.
Then this is going to simmer for about an hour.
Like the roux, andouille sausage must also be from the French background.
This gumbo is really like the Cajun people, too. We're a melting pot. You have the French, the Spanish, the Italians, the Germans, and you know what? They're all in this pot together.
In a nutshell, what is Cajun cooking?
Home-style cooking. Cajun is derived from the area you come from and the way you cook.
Right.
And the way we cook is Cajun style.
Right. That if I wanted to go and get some real home-style Cajun food, where would you say I go?
You're going to have to go find the color of the gumbo, baby. It's on the Bayou Teche in New Iberia in Lafayette, Louisiana.
Here I come.
Go get them, baby.
I need more of this stuff. I'm on my way. Taking Gigi's advice, I leave New Orleans and head north into Cajun country. But the landscape is surprising. Miles upon miles of what looks to me like floods, but it's in fact the swamps of the Atchafalaya Basin. Not many restaurants here.
Ooh, that make me hungry.
Well, sure, you want me to make you a crawfish etouffee?
Yeah, but don't that take too long?
No, all you got to do is saute the vegetables in a lot of butter, then add rotel tomatoes, some cayenne, salt.
Aha. Now this looks more promising.
To make some rice?
Oh, no, you're not going to trick
This is making me seriously hungry.
It's your turn to catch the crawfish.
I should be able to get something here. Buddha. I'd like to try some of that.
Yes, sir. Can I have
some Cajun boudin?
Hot or mild, sir?
Wow.
How much, sir?
Pound.
1 pound?
The place is crowded out, and it's still so early in the morning. What's so special about this Buddha?
My 15-year-old refuses to get out of bed until he gets his boudin. He's laying in the bed. He needs 1.5 pounds just to get him going this morning.
When they took me off mother's milk, they put me on boudin.
5.36.
Why do I like boudin?
Yeah.
I don't know. You grow up eating. Everybody loves Johnson's boudin.
Oh, so you think it's tradition?
Yeah.
Have you been eating
Saturday
it
morning.
since you were little?
Yes.
Good morning,
Hi,
ma'am. How
good
you
morning.
doing?
Not too bad. The smell of this shop is sensational.
Well, thank you.
I tell you, you are adding...
The smell is what you got you in here?
yeah, that's
All
right.
right,
It's
good.
the smell. And the cue.
Oh.
A pound of Buddha,
1
please.
pound. Would you like it whole or cut, ma'am?
Oh, cut, please.
Cut.
What is it about your Buddha which is making people travel far and wide to come?
We still make it the same way they used to make it years back.
Is that so you think it's nostalgia?
Enough meat and not too much rice. I mean, it's supposed to be the right amount.
Okay, I'll add my meat.
Cooked liver,
My boudin.
plenty of fresh
So this
herbs,
one batch.
Cajun spices, boiled rice, and rich liver stock. and all churned up together. And out comes the boudin sausage, a bit of steaming, and it's ready to eat. But of course, if you prefer your sausage smoked, these are the pork meat andouille that Gigi put in her gumbo. It doesn't look like these wood-burning smokehouses have changed much since the Cajuns first arrived.
I like it too, me. I always bring my radio when I fish.
I could eat me some good fried catfish right now.
Me too.
Gigi was right.
But first,
This is the place for Cajun food.
But food wasn't always so plentiful, and life not as prosperous as these comfortable homes might suggest. With so much of the land submerged underwater, I wonder how on earth the first Cajun settlers survived. Whatever did they eat in this spooky, unreal world of swamps and desolate lakes? The first to come here were French Catholics called Acadians, who had made their home in Nova Scotia only to be kicked out by the British in the 17th century. Amazingly, they found the swamps to be rich in food, eating everything from possum to alligator. The only way to get around here is by boat. It feels such a wilderness, a lost world. I'm glad to know that my swamp guide, Kurt, has been negotiating these waterways since he was a boy.
Are there still Cajuns living along these waterways like before?
No, there may be a few people still. They're more or less dropouts, but in the early days, out of necessity, before the advent of a fast boat, they had to live out here, and they lived either on houseboats or on camps up on stilts.
I mean, they became trappers and hunters.
Trappers, hunters, fishermen. We are still hunting alligator, the turtle, and of course the fishermen are still fishing for all the commercial species of fish.
I see. Do they still speak the old language when they come up here?
Oh yeah, in fact, everybody that you're going to meet at the camp today speaks the Acadian French, which is 500-year-old regional French.
So I mean, now when the boys come up to the camps, what do they do?
Well, they'll lie to each other, drink beer, little moonshine, play cards, tell jokes, and all Cajun men love to cook.
Oh, I'm pleased to hear that.
I'm looking forward to seeing one of these all-male camps. I've managed to get an invitation, but they drew the line at me joining them for the cooking. As Kurt and I went our way through bayous and swamps, his friends at the camp are preparing our meal. For them, it's a time to relax, talk in their old Cajun French, and cook traditional foods. And for Kim, it's a great excuse to do what he loves best, hunting.
Hunting alligators is one of my favorite sports. It's very dangerous. Catch alligator on a parachute cord. It's like this. This is a 1,200-pound test with a big hook. You grab your parachute cord, and you pull it up, and you shoot them with a big handgun or a .22 rifle or some other type of high-powered weapon. And then you pull them in, take them home, and you skin them up, and you put your meat in the freezer. It's not that easy, though. It's a lot more when they try and eat you up. Okay, we eat a lot of alligator, and it's mostly in the restaurants with all the tourist people. They like to taste something different, and they're wondering what we eat here in Cajun country. And alligator's always on a menu as an appetizer, and it's fried mostly, and that's what they eat is the little small fried pieces like this that we're getting ready to cook up.
The first thing you have to do before you start cooking, you have to open a good cold beer, because if you don't, then your recipe will never turn out right.
Onion, bell pepper, and garlic, and some oil.
Là, plus tard, on met des oignons verts dans la sauce. On les coupe sur petits bouts. On fait du piment et puis du sel.
See, I'm a Dutch Cajun. I don't even know how to speak Dutch, but you guys at the French, y'all really get me embarrassed when I come around here and I can't understand what y'all saying. it was old alligator and tougher meat, you'd cook it down for an hour or more.
Oh, you
say
have to
15 minutes?
cook an old alligator probably, what's an hour and 15, hour and a half.
Because I've cooked some really old alligator before, just frying it. It tastes like old tennis shoes. It was like...
Yeah, well, really and truly, your best alligators
is the
at
form
3 and
raised.
4 foot.
Yeah, this is all 4-foot
Oh,
alligator.
yeah, that's the best. But it's a big relaxation coming just out here and just ride the river and just come to this camp. And how we don't even hunt, there's no problem. There's always something good to eat, and we always have a cold beer, or we have a story or a card game.
Riding the bayous with Kurt is bliss, but I must say I'm really looking forward to our meal at the camp.
Dorinda!
Aye!
Don't tell me you're hungry!
I'm always hungry.
You're always hungry. We got some food for you. You better eat it.
All right.
You got it?
Yeah.
Alligator sauce pecan.
I don't believe you.
Huh? Alligator sauce pecan.
Alligator, don't be ridiculous.
No, delicious alligator. Very young,
On
tender
va vous mettre
alligator.
beaucoup parce que c'est très bon.
Oh, no.
Sauce pecan.
I guess you're going to want the recipe for that. But you have to have alligator cooked
Welcome,
there.
seriously. You have to like the stuff. Alligator. It's the first time I've eaten the stuff.
That's about enough.
How about some moonshine?
Moonshine?
Moonshine.
What's that?
Moonshine.
That explains why you guys come away, really. It's not just the alligator pecan, is it?
Right.
It's to keep in touch with the ancestral things. Is that right?
That's right.
Can you imagine? Just close your eyes and picture your ancestors sitting here, letting the
That is
waters roll.
Beautiful.
And tossing back a bit of moonshine.
Would you like a little bit more?
Yeah.
Is it good?
It's fantastic. Whoa.
You gonna come out here one day and camp at my camp with me?
My dear, I thought
My
you'd
wife.
never ask. I'm going to come and break up this male camp. I'm going to come and join you. Hunting and fishing are still popular sports for all the family. For David and Kim, who live on the Bayou Teche, the traditional old-style way of hunt fishing is the best.
It's early in the season, so we just took a seine out in the pond, and we wanted to cook some fish. Like a blue cat, they got the blue cat, a spotted cat, and they got some yellow cat. But most time we'll go like in the bayou and stuff and catch them. We'll try to catch them by hand. You just go in, you feel with your hands, and sometimes you get bit. But that's what the Cajuns are usually after. And sometimes you catch a big loggerhead, a big turtle. Very big. Yeah. There's nothing in that pipe there.
Yeah, I want to get him.
What you got?
Andre, usually they got two catfish.
Kids love it. They have the best time. They really enjoy it. And it's good to see the children looking at it from an enjoyment and recreation standpoint. Yeah, it's much more fun than watching TV or renting videos. As long as I can remember, we've always went fishing, camping, and we still do, and combine it with music and just a social time. Food is such a big part of our tradition down here. You can go anywhere and you hear the term Cajun food, and we don't think anything different of our food until you go someplace else and you try some of the other food and it's so bland or unexciting, and it makes you realize and appreciate what we do have, how it is different. And it's disappointing when you go to Chicago and you go to a Cajun restaurant and it's some sort of soup and they call it gumbo. It's just not the same.
As well as being a rich source of fish, these swampy fields of Louisiana prove ideal conditions for cultivating a more unusual food, crawfish, trapped in these cages. Using this especially designed boat, Whitley Soup has worked his ponds for 30 years, and for him, crawfish isn't just a food, it's a passion, and he's keen to pass it on to his grandchildren. On Sundays, he and his family get together in this pondside camp for a crawfish boil. His daughter Phyllis organizes the day.
Daddy, we need 4 sacks for the bowl.
4 sacks?
Yes.
Got it.
How many have you got in there?
300.
300? Now, how much crawfish do you actually catch per season?
I imagine about 20,000 pounds.
20,000 pounds?
Well, more or less.
You eat 20,000 pounds
Well,
per season?
yeah.
You eat
With
a lot?
the family and, oh yeah, we're big eaters. And we love them crawfish.
I'm gonna catch a big one in there.
Oh, that's not big enough. That's a nice one.
You seem to have no fear of them, huh?
A nice big male.
How do you know it's male?
Oh, look. See there?
Yeah? Gosh, he's a mean so-and-so, isn't it?
But you talk about good. Ever had some? Mean crawfish.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I've had some crawfish. Weirdly. You are wicked.
Yeah.
So the help, I mean, you've given land to your children so that his family can stay together.
Right.
Family's a big thing in
I
Cajun
get-
life.
Oh,
huh?
yeah. I love my family.
Are you typical of a Cajun family? Or,
Yep.
or
Well, I would say so.
In the old days, it was normal for Cajuns to have enormous families. Whitley and his wife Doris were an average couple with just 12 children. Phyllis always loved cooking. She's chief chef for the crawfish boil and is cooking a sumptuous seafood jambalaya. How many are you cooking for?
Probably 20, 25.
You have a
At
large
least.
family.
Yeah, we 12 kids. Then with the husbands and grandkids, there's probably 50.
What? You don't have to cook for 50 each meal time?
Well, everybody will bring a little something.
My goodness me. So take me through the ingredients for this jambalaya.
Here, butter, onions. Saute your onions, then you put your cream of mushroom soup. Then you start mixing your seafood in. Put your shrimp first.
Yeah.
Let your shrimp cook. Then you put your crawfish. Let that cook for a little while. Then your seasoning, salt, pepper, garlic, fresh onion tops you put in there.
What is this? Hang on a minute. Look at this. Success rice. Is there failure rice? Why is
Not for me.
Perfect rice cook.
Perfect rice.
How much would this feed?
Probably 15.
Is it normal for Cajuns to have such a big family?
Now, no, but a long time ago.
Yeah?
Yeah,
So how
they
many have
have.
you got? How many kids have you got?
I only have 2.
Now you planning on some more? Or is this a
No.
personal question?
No, that's enough.
That's it? How? You're putting an end to Cajun culture?
Yeah, I guess.
How's that going to build for Cajun culture in the future?
Later. Well, they'll still know how to cook.
Oh.
The few we have. will
Hey,
cook
I'm
good.
watching here. You know?
You learning?
Yes. Jambalaya, Cajun style, seafood. Who taught you to cook? Amazingly, 11 of the 12 children work in food production. This thriving business is run by Whitley Jr. He prepares an incredible variety of stuffed birds.
I learned to cook from my mother and father. That's why I learned how to cook. Did that for 10 years at the restaurant, and then me and my brother opened this. We do ours with 6 different kinds of stuffing. Cornbread dressing, rice dressing, pork stuffing, shrimp and rice, crawfish and rice, and alligator and rice. Alligator. It's real good. It's different. People are scared to try it, but once they try it, they like it. This is Cajun. It's the spices and everything. The seasoning is what makes it what it is. It's all Cajun. What the Cajuns cook with is just a very basic salt, red pepper, black pepper, and garlic. It's just a basic seasoning.
And this seasoning is being sprinkled on a very strange Cajun invention called a turducken.
Turduckens, you do those also. We stuff a turkey with a duck and a chicken, and we put layers of stuffing in between each one of them. It's a lot of meat, but it's you know, like for a big family and stuff, and for the holidays we sell lots of them.
You were busy last night? I'm here with the jambalaya.
At last, the big day, the crawfish boil.
Here you go.
keeps appearing from everywhere. This is a real gathering of the clans. And here's the turducken in all its splendor. Time to get stuck in. Jambalaya. But this is what we've all been waiting for. Yes.
Bowling crawfish in Louisiana.
A few minutes in the boil, with the corn and potato for flavor, and the crawfish will be ready to eat.
All right, boom. Coming with the crawfish. There you go.
Eating crawfish is a very serious business.
Suck the head. And then you grab this. Here's the tail. Put that in full with your teeth. Suck it out.
Aha! I've got the hang of it.
Oh! You're a natural.
A natural.
You know how to eat them tails.
I've learned how to eat crawfish, and now I can do the Cajun two-step. This is seriously good fun. But I wonder if all this is going to last. Are the Cajuns going to remain Cajun?
You always have that Cajun instinct in you.
Are you worried that's the culture might die
Oh,
out?
yeah. Yes, I do. I hope it's still alive in 100 years from now. Because if they don't, if they let it die out, they're going to miss out on a whole lot.
It is absolutely heavenly here. It is beautiful. I could get to like this. I could get used to this.
You could get used to that.
Yes.
I could get used to you.
There's a married man. You can't come to New Mexico without having a local margarita. So cheers. If you want to see the sheer extent of the Asian influence on America, take a walk in Golden Gate Park.
We put one over here. Huh? You look pretty nice with the earring, sausage
Well,
earring.
different shaped earrings, why not? Hey.
In the beginning of this country, it was a melting pot. Everybody went into the same pot. And all we called ourselves was American. And we still love our country. But now we're looking at our ethnic backgrounds, and it's more important to us now to reach back and find out where we came from and where we're going.
God told me to rise because I'm set on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hey girl, you know I'm cooking this jive because I'm set on freedom. Hey, you know I'm cooking this jive because I'm set on freedom. You know I'm cooking this jive because I'm set on freedom. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hey. Hi, I'm doing the Hefner. I'll go anywhere, anytime in search of warm people and exciting new tastes. Join me on a journey around the United States. We'll explore the roots of America's many cultures and their wonderful cuisines. We'll share wonderful dishes and hear personal stories of Americans who trace their origins to all parts of the world. This kaleidoscope of tantalizing regional cuisines make up my series, The United Taste of America.
Funding for this program was made possible by annual financial support from viewers like you.
In this program, I'll be sharing some wonderful festivities and food. Everyone loves an excuse to party, and celebrating one's history and culture seems the very best of reasons. A German-American heritage fest and a Native American powwow make quite a contrast, but both peoples are immensely proud of their cultural heritage. First, it's time to visit the farming community of New Ulm, Minnesota. These people are more German than the Germans themselves. This rich farmland is the heart of the Minnesota River Valley in Midwest America, part of the abundant corn belt that prompted Rudyard Kipling to call it the land of fat cattle and fat women. Nothing wrong with that. 90 miles southwest of the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul, this is home to a close-knit German community. I've been invited to stay with the Wendinger family, whose roots here stretch back over 100 years. Paul Wendinger and his brother Peter have breakfast every day with their elderly mother Eleanor before heading out to farm together.
Peter lives like a quarter-mile away, so we...
Eleanor's famous for her home-cooked German dishes, such as dumplings, fresh-baked breads, and sauerkraut.
Never
you have a hearty breakfast every morning?
Every morning.
Pretty much very important.
Yep.
Very
So
important.
Our next meal might be when it gets dark.
Oh,
at
yes.
night.
Oh,
But it's
that's-
not only the eating, it's the socializing. I mean, this
Yep,
is
we
where they
get to-
congregate everybody from the
get together
neighbors.
and...
This morning, as usual, two of Eleanor's 9 grandchildren are here, along with Paul's wife, Jolene, and Peter's wife, Dodie. And who does the cooking usually?
Grandma.
Mom
Always?
usually does the cooking.
Always?
She kind of hovers over us. She stands by the stove until we don't eat anymore.
Many mornings she doesn't even sit down by the table. She just makes sure everyone else is fed.
And every morning. So you all pull Grandma out of bed this early in the morning to cook you.
She's up way before we are.
Oh, yeah.
Well, where do you find the time?
I just work from morning till night.
You
and I
like
have
working?
time to go play cards.
Now, what about your sons? What about you, Paul?
Well,
can you cook?
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
Can you eat?
I can eat. Oh, Jolene cooks. Well, not so much anymore. She's got a full-time job, but we have our German tradition meals at home, and
Why am I getting the feeling that in German families the women do all the work?
well, I don't know. You got to have those women for something.
Oh, do I kill him now or save him for later? Oh, Jolene, are you listening to this?
I'm not listening.
The German women, especially in the New Ulm area or in our area, are all really good cooks. You know, so we kind of rely on the women to do the cooking.
And the men are good eaters.
Men are good eaters. You'll see that in the New Ulm area. The men are all Peter's size and my size.
I get the feeling there's a lot of warmth around this table, Dodie. You all seem to enjoy very much being together. Is that correct?
Oh, yes. And like I says, Grandma has
instituted this all. We want to all be together as much as we can, as busy as everybody is. At one time, there was one of the grandchildren living in Germany, so that was a long distance, and that was extremely hard. And when she would call for functions, when Easter, she'd call, and she says, I know just what you're doing. She could explain what was on the table. She explained just what Grandma was doing at that time, and you could hear the tears in the background. And so it's very important that we're all together as much as possible.
Oh, well, you know what they say, don't you? The family that eats together stays together. You know, you're doing the right thing. I'm impressed. The Wendinger family farm is just outside the town of New Ulm, which was settled in 1852 by German immigrants from Württemberg. It was named after the principal city of that province, Ulm. With a population of just under 14,000, there are few people living here who are not of German origin, and it's retained a quintessential old world charm. This week, the town really is being spruced up for a special occasion. The end of the week is Heritage Fest, a unique celebration of German culture which so defines New Ulm. German foods will be high on the agenda, and one which will definitely be on the menu is the sausage. You've got a whole heap of sausages here. Tell me the names of some of them and what's in some of them.
Okay, well, we'll start on this end right here.
Right.
We've got New Ulm style sausage. That's the original type of sausage that's been made in New Ulm for years and years. And the reason that it is New Ulm style is not because it's made in New Ulm, it's because of the ingredients. And it's beef and pork, salt and pepper, and twice as many mustard seeds, and white pepper instead of black. And I'm going to give you a taste of it, because I know you're going to love it.
Yes.
I've kind of been ignoring you with the samples here.
No,
I'm
I've just
sorry.
been controlling myself. I thought it'd be a bit rude. I think the man's right.
Isn't that good? I don't even...
It comes with the mustard already through it.
A lot of mustard seed in.
So
And then these are ring sausage.
Gosh, I could easily wear these as my earrings,
Oh, yeah.
couldn't I?
Oh, yeah. You could have one on each side. Here, you can put one over here. Huh? You look pretty nice with earring, sausage
Well,
earrings.
different shaped earrings. Why not? Hey.
Yeah, that's great. But these...
Nibble my ears.
These, you put a little water in a pan, put a lid on, and steam them. This is a real good dinner sausage with mashed potatoes and sweet corn.
Yum.
It's wonderful.
Is it the same things that you cook in beer? Would you cook this in beer?
No, I prefer to drink the beer myself. And we get...
Got customers, I see.
Oh, let me wait on a customer. I'll be right with you. Jolene, how are you? Can I help you?
Whilst Lenny earns his keep, here's my chance to chat up some clients. Could you come over here? Everybody seems to be arriving today to buy sausages. What about you, gentlemen? Hi. Now, do you shop here a lot?
Once a week, I like the brats.
Brats?
Yeah.
Bratwurst, you mean?
Bratwurst, yeah.
Oh, which is your favorite brat?
Well, the ones Lenny makes, and sometimes I...
But he makes lots of them.
Yeah, the ones with wild rice.
Aha, you like the local ones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what is it about the taste of it that keeps bringing you back?
Well, I ask Lenny different times about the spice, but he doesn't tell me. So,
So you keep eating it and hope you actually get
yes, that's right.
Thank you. The sausage has always been one of the most important German foods, so Lenny keeps the tradition alive.
The German people, when they came here from Germany, they brought the German traditions with them, and they lived on sausage there. And the main reason they made a lot of meat into sausage and processed their meat is because of the lack of refrigeration. And they came to the New World, they brought along their traditions. So the people in this community and all German communities have been raised and have grown up eating sausage. They eat sausage almost every day.
Oh, so as the French would say, it's de rigueur.
De rigueur, yeah.
De rigueur.
You bet.
Ah, now, are you looking forward to the Heritage Fest?
Oh, I really am.
Yeah?
I'm really excited about it.
What are you planning on doing over there?
Well, I tell you, this is the very first year I'll be singing with the Concord Singers.
Well?
And I'm really excited about doing that. It's a really good time.
So, Lenny, how important is the Heritage Fest to the German community?
It's very important. The main reason is it brings all the people together. Like, we'll have like 40,000 people comes to this town just to have fun and to celebrate and you know, really have a great fun time. And in New Ulm, what they call it is a fun time is Gemütlichkeit.
Gemütlichkeit.
Gemütlichkeit, yeah.
Gemütlichkeit.
And make sure that they just have a good time when they come here. And it brings a lot of people together.
Cooking for Heritage Fest also brings a lot of people together. This is New Ulm's primary school, and 70 women have put aside the week to make German potato salad. This is not potato salad as you and I know it, no. It's a hot, meaty, sweet and sour traditional salad that will feed thousands at the festival. I'm here to meet Doris and Myrtle, the lieutenants in charge. So what exactly is in your potato salad, Myrtle?
Well, we have your sweet sour mixture of your vinegar and sugar and onions and bacon.
See, my ear is flapping for the recipe, so keep going.
Well, for just 100 pounds of potatoes.
100 pounds of potatoes?
We might as well make the recipe large.
Yes, okay, go for
it. Gallon of vinegar, 27 cups of sugar, 10 cups of fried bacon, about 8 to 10 cups of raw chopped onions, and your seasonings.
Do you enjoy making it?
Yes, I do enjoy making it. After you do about the last 500 pounds, you begin to wander.
But you like eating it?
Yes, I love eating it. Can't you see by looking at me? I love it.
Doris and Myrtle are helping to make 2,000 pounds of potato salad, which will all be eaten this weekend. They're proud not only of their German food, but of their heritage and language too.
We don't speak this German that they speak in Germany, but wir können schon Deutsch schwätzen.
Oh, I am impressed. Did you learn it at school? Was it compulsory?
No, it is now, but I did not have it in school. But when my oldest sister started to go to school, she didn't know how to speak English.
And she was born and bred in the United States?
That's right.
Well, what about your kids? Are they learning German?
Well, a lot of them have what you call the book German that you learn in school. That, yes, but at Heritage Fest they all come home. We have 8 children, so our house overflows.
And you look forward to it. I can see the sparkle in your eye when you say that.
We're always happy when they all come, and we're always happy when they all go home.
That is very honest. I like that. I like that.
But it's fun. Your grandchildren thoroughly enjoy it.
I'm looking forward to this Heritage Fest, I must say. Is there any particular thing you would suggest I go eat first?
Well, you just start at one end of the fest grounds and you eat your way to the other as you're listening to all the different music.
I should be like a tree house by the time I finish. The Wendinger brothers, Peter and Paul, are hog farmers, and in the heat and humidity, it's a tough task. I could, of course, help, but with the whole family coming over for Heritage Fest, there's also work to be done indoors. And frankly, baking cheesecake is more my cup of tea. So is cheesecake an American thing or a German thing?
No, cheesecake is a German recipe. They just say cheesecake, but it's Schmierkuchen.
You see, every time you think of cheesecake, most people think of America.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, the Germans came over to America many years ago.
And is that how you learned to make Schmierkuchen?
Yes, my mother as a young child made it every Saturday, she made it for the whole town, several schmear cakes.
For the whole town, did I hear you say?
Yes, I lived in another community just like this. And then when I got married, that's when I really got to learn how to make it because I had a mother-in-law that made it every day also, or I should say every week. We start with a 12-ounce box of cottage cheese. Then you need 1 tablespoon of flour. And then we need 1 tablespoon of sugar. Or if you want to say it in German, Zucker.
Zucker.
Zucker is German for sugar.
Yeah.
And 1 Eier.
Eier.
Eier, that's for egg.
Okay. I'll speak German yet.
And we need to mix.
Let me just check out what the mixture's gone into the pie crust.
Now we've got the mixture in the pie shell. Now we lay we go with the prunes. And you spread them out all the way around the pie shell.
Do you like making it and eating it? Or just
Well,
making it?
I never ate it much, never cared for it, but as I got older, you acquire a taste for it.
Is it a kind of way of getting back to your heritage?
I think so too. It really does. As you get older, you're going to try a little bit more things and want to learn what your ancestors ate and why they ate it, why they liked it. So,
how hard was it for your ancestors when they first came over?
oh, it was extremely hard. You know, how they came to this area was they were offering free land to anybody that wants to come over to, you know, open up the land. And they got to Chicago, and that's where they divvied out the property. And they had these scouts coming from the areas explaining what type of ground was here. Black ground, what type. And most of the people that came from our area were farmers and liked the rich black dirt. And this area has a lot of rich black dirt, plus the terrain. There's a valley. There's just a slight look of hills, you know.
It reminded them of home?
Reminding them of home. So that's why they settled here. It was tough in the earlier days, but they were strong people, very strong people. And I think Eleanor is kind of resembling how strong you can be.
The pioneering spirit.
That's right.
Now for the final touch, a biscuit is crumbled all over the top. Eleanor has entered this recipe along with many others in a cookbook she's been writing for over 50 years.
It's like a personal diary. Yeah. And in this cookbook is all the different recipes that she learned from her mother, from friends, other German friends of hers. And it's like you would say a personal diary. There's marriages in here. Here, a certain cancer cure that she had heard about, what you need to do. When she was in the hospital several years ago, the date and what all happened. All the birth dates of her friends, of relatives of her, and if they had a particular accident, or if they lost a dog and it was in the paper, it's all written in here.
You can find your whole life history in here.
Just about. Well, when they're talking over breakfast in the morning, they'll say, well, Mom, do you remember when so-and-so had that accident? Well, let me check. And she'll get her book out.
And the cookbook comes out.
And the cookbook
I like
comes
that.
out. And she'll find it. She'll page through till she finds it. So, and she's got all her different pickling recipes. Her jam recipes are all in here.
This is worth a fortune, this book. It is the best book in the house, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. The grandchildren all have their dibs on it already.
The race is on.
If you do something wrong, a speeding ticket, that's in here also. So you be careful.
I should watch my words, my behavior around you, Helena. So how long does this get baked for, or doesn't it get baked?
This gets baked for 3/4 of an hour, 45 minutes, and 350 degrees, and then she's ready to eat. Probably let it cool is the best.
You're looking at me a bit suspiciously. She knows how much I like this stuff. It's not easy to leave that cake behind, but I don't want to miss New Ulm's famous glockenspiel, which chimes twice a day and is the town's pride and joy. It stands 45 feet high and is one of the world's few freestanding carillon clock towers. Many of the figures reflect the Germans' fondness for beer, and indeed, New Ulm has one of the oldest family-run breweries in the United States. Founded in 1860, Shell's is now run by Ted Marty, a fifth-generation family member.
When I grew up, there were a lot of little breweries in Minnesota yet, and unfortunately they didn't survive, and we were able to survive. And I think it's important because it's unique. It adds something to a town that not many people can say they have.
Ted, like everyone else, is gearing up for the festival, making sure there'll be no shortage of beer, and beer, and beer.
The Heritage Fest is upon us, and it celebrates obviously the heritage of New Ulm, and we've been there since the beginning, and we're just an integral part of New Ulm's heritage. We get lots of visitors here, and certainly we're proud of that fact. And people have fun at Heritage Fest, and that all reflects on us too.
big event grows closer, food grows more abundant. Lenny's making sure there are plenty of sausages.
It brings a lot of people to town. We got like maybe 40,000 people. People bring a lot of money. Come to town and they're all hungry for sausage. They'll be eating a lot of my sausages.
The potato salad conveyor belt is also gaining momentum as Doris and Myrtle skillfully mix the potatoes with the sweet sour sauce they've prepared.
Onions, sugar and vinegar. There we go. Does that look okay to you?
And the great day itself is here. Peter and Paul Wendinger dress up for the occasion. They play in a traditional German polka band, which is performing at the Heritage Fest. This is the 23rd Annual Heritage Fest, and there are people here from all over the United States and from around the world. For 2 consecutive weekends each July, there's continuous entertainment on 5 stages. Food is a vital element, and numerous stalls sell German delights, one of which is, of course, potato salad. Okay, let's get a mouthful in.
Very good.
I didn't think I was going to like it quite this much. Has it been worth your while seeing all these people eating your potato salad? The mountains and mountains of your potato salad.
Yes. Makes you feel good. It's worth all the work that went into it. Hours and hours of potato peeling and stirring and cooking, but it's worth it.
Just about everybody gets involved in the grand celebration, but Leo Berg spends all year round organizing Heritage Fest.
In the beginning of this country, it was a melting pot. Everybody went into the same pot. And all we called ourselves was American. And we still love our country. But now we're looking at our ethnic backgrounds, and it's more important to us now to reach back and find out where we came from and where we're going. And hopefully bringing that all together, be American first and German second, and being American Germans. I think the whole community realizes that we are unique because we are the least ethnic diversified community in the United States. That means almost everybody here says they're German or have some part of German blood in them. So it's very important to us. It's these types of events that keep small towns in America alive. We have something unique where big cities can't do what we do. It makes us special, and it makes our people feel special.
This is Monsieur Bert Chapicon, the mayor of New Ulm. Are you having a great time at the fest?
I'm having a good time at Fest. I do every year. I know a lot of people in this town.
That's one of your friends.
One of the yodelers. I hope he votes for me. No. Boy, this is going real good. I can see that. Before you leave, I have a little gift for you I'd like to give you. It's the key to the city. It's a little gift, but it comes from our heart. We're very happy to have you here. We hope someday you can come back and remember us when you get back to Australia. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Again?
Yeah. Now, I'm heading north to the thousands of lakes in Wisconsin, where I've been invited by the Ojibwe people who are going to teach me all about America's rich natural larder.
I don't want no organs.
I got in the mood now. I could easily remain here amid lakes and forests, eating wild foods and discovering the spirit of the people. This vibrant gathering is taking place in northern Wisconsin on the edge of Lake Superior, home to many of the Ojibwe or Anishinaabe Native American Indians. Celebrations like this one, called powwows, take place throughout the year, and at these grand events, elders, ancestors, war veterans, and the spirits who provide the food are all honored. Corn, yes, I love corn. There's so much good food here. I'm so looking forward to finding out a lot more about this. Oh, lovely. Pardon me? No, I'm all right, thank you. If you're not careful, you'll eat till you burst. The feast is one of the most important elements of the powwow, and traditional foods harvested locally from the land are always served.
Our wild rice, corn, squash, beans, those are the purest foods that we have. You don't have additives and you don't have preservatives put in them. They don't come out of a box. They come out of Mother Earth.
When people don't know about the traditional feast and they come to a powwow for the first time and they sit down and they eat with us, it breaks down a lot of barriers, because when you sit and you eat with someone, you automatically share. And so at a traditional feast, we feed everybody. Everyone is welcome to come and eat with us.
When people are eating together, they're not arguing, they're not fighting. They just pass the salt, please, sure. I like the socializing. I like the talking to all the people that you haven't seen for a long time. Gives you a chance to brag about your children and grandchildren. Like, my boy is a hunter. He went hunting the other day. He shot a deer. The bullet passed through the deer, hit a duck on the other side. The duck fell in the lake and scared a fish, which jumped in the canoe. My boy is a hunter.
Native Americans have been in what is now called the United States for over 11,000 years, but nowadays many live on reservations, land set aside specifically for them. This rich land belongs to Bard River Reservation, 300 kilometers from Minneapolis and St. Paul. Here, traditional ways of life are still observed, and though no longer nomadic, people rely on the passing seasons to provide them with food. Legend has it that Native Americans came to this area after an elder had a dream in which the spirits told him to move across the land with his people until they found the place where food grew on water. Wild rice is now central to their existence. Although the rice is not ready to be harvested, in the channels of Lake Superior, the green reeds stretch as far as the eye can see. They say two types of people eat wild rice, those who can afford it and those who harvest it. The Ashmans are one of many couples who harvest it. Right. Look at it. You feel like you want to run your hands over it.
There. Good.
So, is there any chance of grabbing one? Yeah.
There's one.
Woo! There, I got one. There you go.
Oh, yes. Oh, those are the blossoms there. Then.
The blossoms are coming up. They're not ready to be make rice here, but that's it. Wild rice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Back when our grandparents were harvesting, they did it for survival. You know, they had to bring in enough for food for their family for the winter.
so then the younger generations, as they came on, they are carrying on the tradition.
Right.
So it stays, you know, within the families.
But I mean, how do you know, for instance, that you've got enough for everyone? Because, you know, when you go ricing, surely you kind of deplete the stock before the next family comes along. So how do you ensure that everybody gets something?
Oh, there's plenty of boats out here. Each family's out here in like a canoe, and they only take enough for their family. They don't keep on going till they deplete it all. There's like maybe 2-3 boats over here and 2-3 boats over here, so it's just like a little town out here.
So you get the men hollering at you, giving you a bit of energy.
Right. How much you got over there, you know? We only got 2 pounds, and our bottom's covered in our canoe, you know, we got more than you.
Have you ever had any mishaps? Have you ever fallen in the water?
We fell in one time. Once we fell in, once.
What? Tell me.
Oh, we were just getting started, and she was at the wrong end of the canoe. We had to pass by one another, and we accidentally bumped each other, and we went on both sides of the canoe.
Oh, boy.
Well, Charlie, as it's so nice and peaceful around here, would you like to sing a little romantic tune for your...
I'll sing her one in Indian, okay?
Yes, please.
My Indian language.
That's wonderful.
Wow,
how do you feel, Cecilia? That's for you.
Oh, my God.
The man's still in love.
We're going home.
I'm going in the mood now. Well, since Cecilia's in the mood, we rush back home. Now I know what you're thinking, but I've simply come to see how Charlie processes the wild rice once it's been harvested. So, Charlie, when you bring the rice in, is it this color?
No, it's green. It's green rice from the boat. And we put it on the canvas outside for about a couple hours to dry out first, because it's kind of damp and wet and stuff. And then from there, we bring it in, and we put it in this machine right here. And then I have to light it up and get it started.
This is a weird contraption.
Yes, it is.
Did you make this up?
My father made this. My father made this homemade and everything.
Oh.
Yeah, so then we turn it on. It stays in here for about an hour. Yeah.
Oh.
This is where it's cooked. Well, after an hour, we take it out of here, and it goes in here, and this is this thing here. And this is the way it comes out, and look how it looks when it's all cooked up.
And so you can then thresh it, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm anxious to see what it comes out like after you mash it. So you just thresh it up a bit to get the husks off.
Yeah. And this is the finished
The
product.
cooked dried rice is winnowed and husked outdoors before it's ready for sale. And I couldn't leave without a little of my own. Can I have a couple of pounds, please?
Yes, you can. I think I'll do better if I use my hand.
Yes.
My hands are clean.
Age-old skills, huh?
Yeah.
So who else buys your wild rice?
Oh, we have people, our regular customers that use it at holidays. We have sold to the we gave to the President of the United States at one time.
Good taste the man's got.
Right. The tribal chairman was going down there to Washington for a meeting, so we sent the President a couple pounds of our rice.
Next time you eat wild rice, you'll have a healthy appreciation of it. And I hope you enjoy it even more now you know how labor-intensive it is. So how much do I owe you for this, please?
I'm not going to charge you. We don't charge to our good friends. Thank you very much and enjoy it.
Thank you so much.
Think of us when you're eating it.
Thank you. I shall. How lucky can you get? A whole bag of wild rice. One thing I've noticed about reservation life is that much of it takes place out of view. A short drive off the main highways leads to a different way of life. Jim St. Arnold works for the Indian Fish and Wildlife Commission, and like many Native Americans, spends as much of the summer as possible camping and cooking outdoors in the forest. So, what are the wild foods that are still eaten now?
Wild food? Oh,
yes.
Goodness. As far as meats, just about everything. Bear, different birds, fish, beaver, muskrat, porcupine. Some people even eat skunk.
Skunk?
Yes. Skunk is supposed to be real good. I've never had it, but I've heard it's real good meat. Some of the animals they eat, though, it depends upon your clan system. Because among our people, we have I suppose you could say, almost like a spiritual family also, which is totems, right? Our clans, and they're represented by animals. And those animals that are represented in that clan are considered your brothers and sisters. So you don't do anything to harm them.
So if you belong to the bear clan, you don't eat bear, you protect the bear.
Right.
With a little help from his friends Shelley, Tom, and the children, Jim's cooking a traditional lunch. I'm beginning to understand the Native American culture. They only take what they need from the land, no more and no less, and they make sure they give back. The spirituality of the people is reminiscent of my own West African roots, but not perhaps what I'd expect to find in an industrialized country.
It's a way of life.
Yeah.
It's each day how we start our day. So, like when I took my children out to get the wintergreen that he's cleaning there for our tea, we put our sema, our tobacco down, and thank the Creator for giving these plants and to us for us to use. And we're real grateful for every plant, every rock, every tree, every animal that provides for us.
And tobacco is very important.
Very important.
For that as an offering.
Very important.
So Shelley, tell me a bit about your childhood.
Well, I was born in Tacoma, Washington, and grew up with my grandparents, and that was in the 1950s. And during that time period, it was common for the government to come in and take Indian children away from their families. And that's what happened to me, and I grew up in foster home. I was in an orphanage in a foster home. And I was adopted by some lovely people that were non-native, and I didn't quite feel at home. They were good people. They were a teacher and a high school counselor, but they weren't my people. In fact, for being teachers, they were quite ignorant. They, in fact, I remember coming to their doorstep when they brought me to their home, and their son said, "How?"
And he said, "Good morning." The sweet aromas of lunch have really stirred up my appetite. There's venison, provided by Shelley's partner, who's a hunter, locally called walleye, a quite meaty sort of lake fish, fresh bread, which is to be baked over the fire, wild rice and vegetable stew, and fresh corn, grilled in its husks. Then there's Jim's specialty, of course, wild rice, simmered to perfection and mixed with fresh blueberries and cranberries.
Now.
Fresh. And the best bit, locally harvested maple syrup.
I'm terrible with measuring, so I usually do this by just estimating.
Look, that's how I cook.
I forgot the cinnamon.
Gosh, cinnamon.
And what's nice about
it? Is it part of Native American cooking around here?
Not
You just yours.
that's mine. That's
I like
mine,
that.
yes.
Every chef have their own little extra something.
Yes.
Okay. Oh. Terrible. I need a bowlful. Not enough. Not nearly enough for me to tell.
What do you think?
Sensational stuff. In keeping with custom, lunch is laid out on the ground. Jim uses a feather to waft the aroma of cedar embers over the food to purify it, and Shelley makes up a small plate for the spirits. Since each element on earth has a spirit, a little of each dish is offered up before we ourselves get to eat. And as we do so, Jim explains why Native Americans feel so strongly about paying their respects to the land.
Among my people, we believe that the land is important because the land gives us life. The land provides us with plants, with animals, with our clothing, everything. We're taught that all life is in a circle. And all life is in that circle is no more nor any less important than all life in that circle. We're taught that man is a part of that circle. And because man is a part of the circle, man needs to respect all other life in that circle. Because if any one thing is taken out of that circle, you no longer have a circle. You have a line, a straight line that has a beginning and an end.
Val Barber's heart is in the forest where we meet. Val lives on the edge of this forest and views it as her garden. She teaches botany at the Reservation College and is a wonderful source of information about the numerous uses of wild plants. So did you choose to live out here?
Yes. I've lived all over the world, and this is my favorite place in the whole world.
I don't blame you, so peaceful. Oh, wait a minute, what are these?
Look, this is a really nice plant. This is a wintergreen plant.
Yeah?
It grows on runners under the ground.
And what do you use it for?
This is good for upset stomach, and especially in the winter, when people got sick or had to take medicine that didn't taste too good, you can add these and they'll make the medicine go down.
So what do you just chew them? They smell aniseedy and minty. Well, I like them. Nice.
They're nice. Then we have this really nice plant, this pretty one here.
Oh,
and this
that's cute.
Isn't that cute? This is rue.
Rue. It's so pretty though. And what are they for?
When they're much smaller, when they're just first coming out, they can be used for salad, or you can put them in. Put them in sandwiches and stuff.
They look almost like leaves of nasturtium.
They're pretty.
Yeah. So do you just use foliage, or do you use bark as well?
You can use all parts of the plants, moss, the lichens, there's lots of different things, different funguses that grow on the ground,
like those,
as well as on trees.
Those funguses.
Right.
What would you use that for?
Some of those are used for perfume. If you
perfume? Fungus perfume?
Well, that sounds awful, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
But
how would you do that?
It has a beautiful smell, kind of a musky, woodsy smell, and it's quite marvelous. You enjoyed your visit so far?
Yeah, I keep looking to see if I can recognize anything that I know, but I know nothing.
Well, I'm glad to see this kind of interest. When I was a little kid, or growing up, I used to get embarrassed because my family and friends would be out picking things instead of going to a supermarket and buying chewing gum.
My goodness, you were ashamed of it?
Well, I wasn't really ashamed. I was kind of embarrassed that we did this and maybe other people, I didn't see them doing it. And now I see more people becoming interested this way, and it's just the greatest place to live.
The forest is also the source of much of the meat eaten on the reservation. Native Americans have specific rights to hunt, and many hunt even during the winter months when temperatures are well below freezing. The animals harvested are frozen to provide food throughout the year. Marty Sulia, a local hunter, is up at dawn to look for deer.
They say I have deer eyes. I've hunted so much. I know what to look for. There wasn't, it wasn't always like that when I was growing up. I would be walking along a trail and a deer would jump up beside me or something. I didn't even see it, and I said, well, how come I didn't see it? And I wasn't looking. Now I know what to look for. I don't look for the whole deer. I look for a little flicker of the hair, or the ear, or the tail, or even the coloration. This time of the year, they're kind of red, so you always look for that red. If someone asks me to go out and get a deer for them, I'll probably go out and find the most efficient means of doing it fast and getting them a deer. But if I go out to hunt, then I find a particular animal that I'm interested in, and I'll go after just that one animal, so it's one-on-one. I'll let the other ones go, and I'm just looking for that one, so I like that, it's me against him. I also call upon my ancestors, my dad, my mom. I've asked them for help, and it seems to help me. I don't know if it does or not. It seems like to me that since I've asked them, they provided something, you know, and I keep them in mind that way, you know, I always think of them a lot.
Marty evidently enjoys the challenge, but he hunts for sustenance, only killing to provide food for those who need it.
There's really a lot of low-income families on the reservation, so a lot of people supplement their food with the wild game, and I think it's very important. It helps a lot of people make it through the winter and stuff. I know when my parents were alive, I used to fill up the freezer every year, and I'd have 8 to 9 deer in a freezer, and we basically, that's all we ate, you know, because there wasn't very much money to buy everything else, you know, so Jimmy just helped us get through.
Marty rarely fails to find a deer when he needs one. Paradoxically, he's not a lover of deer meat, but the fruits of his early morning are appreciated by his friend Dana Jackson. Dana is camping on the edge of Lake Superior with several children eager to eat. It's still early. The deer will be skinned to provide dinner for the days ahead, but first, there's a fish lunch to harvest. I'm transported along this idyllic beach in rather a novel way. My first experience on a quad bike, ever so slightly unnerving, but certainly good fun. Dana has been waiting for Marty's help to haul in the night's catch. Lake Superior is said to be the largest, deepest, and coldest lake in the world and can be dangerous. When fishing, Dana shows respect by giving tobacco to the lake to pacify the water spirit, described in some stories as a large cat like a lynx. And the catch is definitely worth the wait. Lake trout, salmon, walleye, and pike are all in abundance. Hi, guys. Did you catch much? Oh, wow. Gosh, what is this?
Beautiful. Oh, yeah.
Do you normally catch this much?
Northern pike.
What is this one?
It's a northern pike.
A northern pike with a flat bill.
Great catch. We're going to eat good. We're going to have some boiled trout, and we're going to bake some trout.
Huh. There's a man satisfied with his catch.
You bet.
As Dana's partner Kathy and I prepared the vegetables for a fish boil, Dana explains why Native Americans still carry out traditional methods of harvesting the land.
The person we call Gege Mandu, or the creator, the great mystery, God, whatever, taught us how to eat the natural foods that we're a part of. And so I think it's so important for us as Ojibwe people to carry on those ways. And we respect the natural foods that we eat. And I teach my children to do these things. They'll be coming up doing the same kinds of things, bringing their own food, supplying their own food as much as possible.
Do you get much chance to take the kids out and actually show them hands-on, train them up hands-on in the culture?
Yeah, we do that quite a bit. As they get older, now my oldest son here, he's been learning quite a bit. He's coming on to manhood, and he's going to go through some ceremonies for that. And he's a hunter. He's got his own gun. And I take him with me as much as possible.
Now, so you are from this land, are you?
Right.
What's your heritage here?
Well, we're Ojibwe people. Our people have been here in this area for about 500 to 1,000 years. Here on the reservation where we live, this land was reserved by our ancestors in 1854 in a treaty with the United States government. They saved this land just for us, okay, the Ojibwe people. And it's, to us, paradise, okay?
Cooking methods are basic but effective. Dana simply boils potatoes and onions with chunks of lake salmon, and as lunch simmers, we learn an old Native American game.
We call this the bone game. It's an old Cree game, okay? When the Cree hunters came in, they had their moose or elk or deer, whatever. They decided who was going to eat first, okay? And they would use a bone. We don't have a bone with us today, so we're going to use this for our bone. What we're going to do is take turns being blindfolded, and we're going to spin that person around whose turn it is. And we're going to put the bone down someplace, and they have to guess where it is. Get over here. We need your help.
Oh, where's everybody?
Okay.
I flail around helplessly whilst they all yell at me, trying to lead me astray so I won't hit the stick and get to eat first. But I've got a nose for good food. Oh, yeah?
Oh, no, it's behind you. They're lying to you.
No!
Get it!
Yeah! I gotta eat. I got it. Now do me fine.
Okay.
Thank you. By the time the fish boil is ready, we're all clamoring for food, and the salmon really looks succulent and tasty. Whoa! Now you hold your plate with both hands. Dana's children, not surprisingly, relish the outdoor life, but it's also part of their daily learning curve.
They find out we go a long time between meals, till our meals are ready. They watch us cook. They're not too good at cleaning up camp yet, obviously. But they learn a little bit at a time. It's not like going to school, but they're learning an awful lot. They just don't realize it. But like I said, in a few years, they're going to be doing all these things. Okay, and then I can relax. The foods that we eat, how we prepare the foods, how we gather them, in order to maintain good health, maintain our tradition, and who we are as Ojibwe people. It's extremely important that our children learn that and pass that on, just as it's been passed to us by our parents and grandparents. If we no longer have that respect for the earth, for the natural foods, for those brothers of ours that die so that we can live, that we simply will cease to exist as a people. And some of us don't believe that should happen.
It is absolutely heavenly here. It is beautiful. I could get to like this. I could get used to this.
You could get used to that.
Yes.
I could get used to you.
There's a married man. You can't come to New Mexico without having a local margarita. So cheers. If you want to see the sheer extent of the Asian influence in America, take a walk in Golden Gate Park.
You put one over here. Huh? You look pretty nice with the earrings, sausage
Well,
earrings.
different shaped earrings, why not? Hey.
In the beginning of this country, it was a melting pot. Everybody went into the same pot. And all we called ourselves was American. And we still love our country. But now we're looking at our ethnic backgrounds, and it's more important to us now to reach back and find out where we came from and where we're going.
God told me to rise because I'm set on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hey girl, you know I'm cooking this jive because I'm set on freedom. Hey, you know I'm cooking this jive because I'm set on freedom. You know I'm cooking this jive because I'm set on freedom. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hey,
Funding for this program was made possible by annual financial support from viewers like you.
This is PBS.